There are moments in life when silence speaks louder than noise, when something deep within whispers, "This isn't all there is." That quiet restlessness, the unease before sleep, the pause between ambition and exhaustion, it's not weakness. It's your soul calling for more. True transformation doesn't require a lifetime. It begins in stillness, with sincerity, clarity, and intention. You don't need more strategies or outside validation. What you need is to go inward, to listen to the parts of you you've long ignored. This is where real change starts, not by setting more goals, but by confronting your truth. The pain, the fear, the self-doubt, they all hold the keys to who you are meant to become. This isn't about blame, it's about liberation. When you begin to see clearly, when you allow silence to reveal what distraction has kept hidden, something powerful happens. You begin to remember who you are beneath all the noise. Change is not found in constant motion. It's born in the courage to pause and truly see yourself. Because before you build a new life, you must first uncover the one buried under years of survival, roles, and routines. This is the beginning. Real change begins not with planning the future, but with facing the truth of the present. Most people say they want success, yet few stop to ask why they keep sabotaging it. Behind every failure lies an old belief. I'm not enough, I don't belong, I can't. These silent narratives shape our identity more than we realize. That's why the second step in transformation is radical self-honesty. It's not about judging yourself. It's about listening deeply, like you would to a wounded child. Ask the hard questions. What am I avoiding? Who am I pretending to be? The answers may be uncomfortable, but they're also the beginning of freedom. You cannot build a strong life on the foundation of denial. You must see clearly where you've been misaligned before you can truly align with your future. Clarity doesn't come from perfection. It comes from truth, no matter how difficult that truth may be. Vision is not a vague wish. It's a clear, emotionally charged picture of the life you're committed to creating. Many people say they want to be happy or successful, but these are just abstract longings. True vision requires specificity. What does your better life look like? What does it feel like? When you write it down vividly and speak it in the present tense, your mind begins to accept it as real. Your nervous system starts to align your choices, habits, and focus with that reality. This is not fantasy. It's a psychological shift. The clearer your vision, the more powerfully it pulls you forward, even through discomfort or distraction. Vision becomes the compass, turning each small decision into a step toward alignment. It's not about waiting for the future to happen. It's about living into it now with intention and emotional truth. That's how change becomes inevitable. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're becoming. Motivation may light the fire, but only discipline keeps it burning. By month 3 of transformation, the focus shifts from inner clarity to outer alignment. This is where rituals become essential, not as rigid routines, but as sacred habits that anchor you in your identity. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters consistently. 3 simple keystone habits like a 30-minute morning workout, 5 minutes of meditation, or a nightly reflection can quietly reshape your entire life. These small acts signal to your mind and body, "I am becoming." Over time, repetition rewires the brain, builds confidence, and weakens the grip of old patterns. This isn't theory, it's neuroscience. You don't change your life by overhauling everything overnight. You change it by showing up daily with intention, even when no one sees, even when it feels boring. These rituals become proof that you're no longer waiting to be someone. You already are. The goal isn't perfection, it's presence. Discipline isn't punishment, it's devotion. A quiet, sacred agreement between the person you are and the person you're committed to becoming. Keep showing up. That's how transformation takes root. By the fourth month, transformation no longer feels exciting, it feels heavy. The motivation that once drove you fades, and what remains is resistance, doubt, and emotional fatigue. But this isn't failure, it's a rite of passage. Growth is not linear, it spirals. Old wounds resurface not to punish you, but to deepen your awareness. This stage demands resilience, not the kind that pretends nothing hurts, but the kind that chooses to stay present even when it does. True strength is learning to sit with discomfort, to feel without fleeing, and to listen to your emotions as messengers, not enemies. Every time you pause instead of react, breathe instead of numb, you forge inner power. The warrior within you is not aggressive, it is grounded, alert, and devoted to the path. This month teaches you that pain is not the opposite of progress. It is part of it. Stay in the fire. You are being refined. By the fifth and sixth months of your transformation, something subtle but profound begins to unfold. You no longer have to try to become the person you once envisioned. You simply are. The habits that once felt forced now feel natural. The boundaries you struggled to set are now upheld with quiet confidence. You no longer seek approval, you live in alignment. This is the power of integration, not striving for success, but embodying it. Your decisions come from clarity, not fear. You speak with calm, move with intention, and choose relationships and environments that reflect your future, not your past. And perhaps most beautifully, your journey begins to serve others. True transformation doesn't end with self. It expands into contribution. You share not to impress, but to lift. You guide not because you have all the answers, but because you've walked through the fire. You become living proof that change is possible. This is no longer a performance, it is your presence. And the discipline that brought you here becomes the foundation you now stand on, not out of struggle, but out of integrity. You're no longer chasing the life you want, you're living it, quietly, powerfully, completely. The final stage of transformation is not about doing more, it's about becoming more you. By month 6, the striving fades, and what remains is embodiment. You no longer need to remind yourself to act with purpose, it flows naturally. The rituals that once required discipline are now part of your identity. But this stage brings a new kind of challenge. Letting go. Letting go of the masks, the old habits, and even relationships that no longer align. You begin to speak with more honesty, choose with more clarity, and walk with more conviction. And most importantly, you feel the desire to serve, to share your story, not from ego, but from empathy. Transformation isn't complete until it touches others. Your scars become someone else's roadmap. Your journey becomes a light. True growth doesn't end in self-fulfillment. It culminates in contribution. That's the mark of real becoming. True transformation doesn't end with reaching your goals. It deepens when you begin to live from a place of quiet, steady alignment. By month 6, you no longer measure progress by motivation or external results, but by how naturally you embody the identity you once dreamed of. You make decisions from integrity, not impulse. You say no with clarity, not guilt. Your boundaries, your rituals, your energy, they all reflect who you've become. The most profound shift isn't what you've achieved, but how you carry yourself. And as this alignment settles, a deeper calling emerges to give back. You realize that your journey is not just about personal success, but about becoming a guide, someone whose story, presence, and scars can light the way for others. Wisdom becomes service. Purpose becomes legacy. This isn't the end of change. It's the beginning of living it, breathing it, and becoming the message. The core message of this entire transformation journey is simple but profound. Success is not something you chase. It's something you align with. True change isn't about becoming someone else. It's about uncovering who you were always meant to be beneath the noise, habits, and roles you've adopted for survival. You were never broken, just buried. And as you peel back the layers of denial, fear, and distraction, what remains is not a performance, but presence. Real success doesn't live in achievements or applause. It lives in the quiet confidence of someone who shows up daily, who keeps their promises to themselves, and who acts with intention even when no one is watching. This journey is sacred, not because it leads to more, but because it leads to truth. And once you've lived in truth, you can never go back to pretending. The life you long for is already within reach, not through perfection, but through integrity, discipline, and clarity. When you live from alignment, you stop needing validation. Your actions speak, your presence speaks, and ultimately, you become the proof that transformation is not only possible, but inevitable for those brave enough to begin. The true transformation begins within, not with a new plan, title, or external achievement, but with deep self-honesty. In a world that rewards performance and distraction, we often forget to ask the most important question: who am I? Really? The journey to change your life doesn't require a lifetime. It requires 6 months of courage, clarity, and consistency. You don't need more motivation, you need alignment. You need rituals that reflect who you are becoming, not who you've been. The idea isn't to hustle endlessly, but to become deliberate in your actions, thoughts, and identity. When you confront your fears, rewrite your inner narrative, and build habits rooted in purpose, you stop chasing success, you embody it. And the most meaningful part? This journey doesn't just change your life, it prepares you to uplift others. In America's fast-paced, high-pressure culture, this message is vital. You don't need to become louder to be powerful. You need to become clearer. Start small, stay consistent, and build a life that doesn't just look successful, but feels deeply aligned with who you truly are.